FactsVerse presents Meet the man who's been locked in this machine for over 60 years. Number 1. Medicine has advanced. Today, we're fortunate enough to have access to advanced technology and medical procedures to treat illnesses and ailments. Decades ago, treating disease was not as simple, back when they didn't have the medical equipment and knowledge that we have today. Fortunately, we have found a way to rid the world of polio. It wasn't until millions of people died that they finally found a way to eradicate the world of this disease. Before the immunization for this horrible disease was developed, people who suffered from it had to deal with difficult circumstances if they were going to survive. Meet the man who's been locked in this machine for over 60 years. In 1952, a young boy from Texas developed polio when he was only 5 years old. As a result, he has been locked in a machine for over 60 years. Number 2. The iron lung. Back when polio was an issue, they didn't have the respiratory equipment that we have today. The only treatment available was an iron lung. Patients would be placed in the iron lung, and it would help them to inhale and exhale by filling their lungs with oxygen. The iron lung was the most successful invention of its time, and it's responsible for saving thousands of lives. Polio affected mostly children, and fortunately, most would only be in the iron lung until they reached their adult years. Number 3. Meet Paul Alexander. Paul Alexander is from Dallas. Sadly, when he was just 5 years old, he developed polio. Due to his illness, he had trouble breathing and had to be placed in an iron lung. He also lost the use of his legs as a result of his illness. Unlike most children his age who suffered from polio, he was not removed from his iron lung when he reached adulthood. Today he's 70 years old, and he still needs to be intubated if he's going to breathe. Therefore, he is still in his iron lung. Considering that they stopped making the iron lung in the 1960s, this is pretty amazing. Number 4. Living a full life. Paul didn't let his medical problems get him down. His courage and drive allowed him to get a university education. He had big dreams of one day becoming a trial lawyer. He had to use his wheelchair when he went to class, and he had to take his iron lung wherever he went. When he first arrived at the University of Texas and people saw his iron lung, they were horrified that he had to live inside it. He didn't let that get him down, and he made many friends. Some were genuine friends, others were just curious about the student who was attached to a tube. After graduation, he managed to open his own practice, and he defended thousands of clients. Number 5. It wasn't always easy. With all the medical advancements that we've made since Paul was a child, some people wonder if the iron lung is the best course of treatment. In 2015, his machine caused mechanical issues with his lung. Since he is one of the few people still using the machine and they haven't been manufactured since the 1960s, it's hard to find somebody to repair it. Fortunately, through YouTube, he found a mechanic named Brady Richards who was able to help. He brought the machine to his workshop, and he and his younger workers found a way to fix it. Number 6. A published author. Paul was never one to take the easy way out of anything. He could have done nothing with his life, but he chose to go to college. He could have lived a secluded life where he didn't have to worry about people staring and whispering behind his back. Instead, he decided to go out of his way to make friends. Today, at 70 years old, he still wants to do something with his life. This is why he started writing a book. His book is his life story. It tells the story of how he suffered from polio as a child, how he lost the use of his legs, how he managed to persevere regardless of his bleak medical prognosis. When Paul writes, he doesn't sit down in front of a laptop and type all day. He taught himself to do something that most people would never be able to do in their entire lives. While lying on his back in his iron lung, he holds a plastic tube in his mouth with a pen attached to the end. He uses the pen to type on a keyboard. There are likely very few people who can type in this position using just a pen and a plastic tube. He's managed to do this every day, and he will continue to do so until his entire memoir is complete. Number 7. A true inspiration. Paul Alexander is a true inspiration to anyone who is suffering from any type of disability. Not only does he have no use of his legs, he remains in a huge iron contraption that he needs in order to stay alive. After spending almost his whole life in the iron lung, he has managed to accomplish more than most people who don't ever have a disability. People look at Paul Alexander and they see him as a hero, an inspiration, and someone to strive to be like. Paul is a happy man today, He may rely on his caretaker to do just about everything for him, but in his mind, he has lived a very full life. Subscribe for more.